everyone, Jacqueline here. So today we're going to plant some clematis or clematis, depending how you like to pronounce it. I've got a couple here that are in the classification of B category, meaning that we don't have to prune them back to the ground like we would with the class C clematis or clematis. And I got a couple here that you're probably familiar with. And let me show you what we have here. I'm trying to move away from planting a lot of seeds for vining. I had a really bad year with morning glories this year. The bugs are just terrible this year. Every gardener I talk to or farmer that has a vegetable garden or flower garden has been saying that it's been just so bad. Everything's getting eaten in their garden with all the different bugs. The lily beetles are very bad here, and it's just been a challenge. So this year I decided, hey, let's quit planting morning glory seeds, even though I love them, and I may put them in other parts of the garden, but let's add some permanent plants in here that can climb the trellises and be beautiful. And the fence in the front yard with the trellises on it has been a great area for vines in general because they get a lot of sun, they are supported from the wind, and they're just somewhat sheltered. So let me show you what I have and what we're going to plant. So the first one on the list is Dr. Ruppel, and like I said, this is a class B type of clematis, and this is going to have flowers 6 to 8 inches wide. It's going to flower in May, June, and September, so it takes a bit of a break in the summer, and the mature height of the vine is 6 to 9 feet. So this is a really easy clematis to plant in your garden because you don't have to prune it back. And this one's not too bad. We've got some gnarly leaves there a little bit. You can see some bug damage and stuff in here. But for the most part, it looks really good. Now, for anybody who wants to know, this one was $11.97. In fact, both of them that I have here were $11.97. And so I didn't think that was too bad of a price for this vine. In fact, one of the cheaper places, and I got this at Rona, formerly Lowe's, is where I got this. And so they were pretty reasonable on their vines, in my opinion. I think Home Depot is running about 15, 16 bucks or even more on their vines. So considering how much foliage is on this, and I mean, it looks pretty darn good, I think we can put this one in easily. And we're going to put it on this trellis right here, and we'll see how it does. And you can see there on that trellis right now, there's a morning glory that's trying to defy the weather and the bugs and keep going, but I'm really going to have to remove it because it's getting eaten alive this year. I'm not sure what is up with this year with bugs, but it's bad. And then I'll show you the second one here. And this is called, and I hope I pronounce it right, Pilu? Pilu? You can correct me in the comments if I pronounce it wrong. Anyhow, this is still in the same classification. The flowers are only 4 to 6 inches, so not as big. And it's May, June, and again in early fall. It doesn't say September on this one. They like full sun to partial shade, and its mature height is 4 to 6 feet. So not as large as Dr. Ruppel, but it's pretty decent. The colors are somewhat similar, but lighter between the two, and I'll show you the differences up close. So you can see the differences in the colors here. The veining is a little bit lighter. The shades of pink, there's more of a lavender tone to this one. This is more of a fuchsia pink in the shading. So I think they should be pretty on the trellises. So let's get these planted. It is game night here. We have a football game going on, and of course I'm a Rider fan because I'm from Saskatchewan. So if you're wondering why I'm wearing this jersey, well, of course I'm cheering for my team. So that's kind of what's happening, and I don't know if they're going to win or not. It's not looking good, but I'll cross my fingers. But anyhow, let's get at it. I'm just going to pop these tags off that are holding the vine in the container. I sometimes find that these sticks here are also stapled to the container. You can see here, there's the staples. So it sometimes can be a challenge to get them out of the container. So I'll start with taking these off, and then usually I use brute force to get the staples released. And you can see that this is a challenge here. And it's staked all the way up. Up here it's got Velcro in here, which is good. I can save that actually. That is holding it up at the top. And it's wound around the stick pretty good. So I'll dig the hole, and then I'm gonna pull this out of the pot very carefully, but Now the Leotris or Liatris is going to be in the way. This is the one I transplanted, so it's flopping a bit. It didn't like the transplant that good, but it's still hanging in there. It's still going to bloom. And I didn't cut the blooms off, which I normally would have. But I'm going to try to pull it back and then get a hole right in there very carefully, because I've got to watch the sprinkler lines in here. And I'm just going to take down this Morning Glory because it's just not doing well. And quite honestly, I mean, if you looked at the Morning Glories last year compared to this year, I mean, that's pretty sad right there. There's not much to it. So we'll just get in here and I'll carefully dig this out and see if we can plant this in. And it's going to be hard for you to see because of the Leotris in the way, but that will also do some good for the plant because it will shelter the roots. And for Clematis, the roots like to be cool, but they like sun on the foliage. So that's the big thing with growing these. If you can give the roots some shelter, they'll do much better. And yeah, I hit the line. I can see it down there. All right, so here's Dr. Ruppel, or Ruppel. I think it's Ruppel. Ugh. And you can see here what I mean about these staples. So usually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to probably crack the container when I do it. Yeah. And then take the stick out and kind of pull it out of the vines like that. Some people put it in with the stick. I like to just put it in clean. So I'm just going to put my gloves on. So let's see what kind of roots we got on this. So it's really root bound. It definitely needs to go in. So I'm probably going to pull some of the foliage off of this. It's got a nice length to the vine. I think I just trampled a lily, but that's okay. They will come back, and I'm just going to pull it off here and loosen this up. And I'm going to lose a bit of soil here, I can see, so I'm just going to set that down. I find that when I do these vines that happens. So I'm going to pull this back, pull this up, and I'm just going to anchor it in here a bit while I get it settled in the hole. There we go. And then just backfill. I don't fertilize Clematis. That's one thing I don't do. I treat it like all other perennials, even though it's a vine. I find that works best. So that wasn't too bad. Since I amended this soil, much, much better. So now I'm just going to try to give it a little bit of training here into the trellis. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, and I'll have to come out and probably put some string and just tie it in. I have some of those plant twist ties I can put on it, but we'll just kind of, I'm just going to kind of lean it into here like this and just kind of train it around and that. You can see we got kind of a tangled mess here, and it will do its own thing, guaranteed. So not such a big deal. But I want it on the trellis, not around the Leotris or Liotris. There we go. One thing I can share with you guys is the hydrangeas are beautiful this year. This is the second year for my Annabelles here in this bed. And look at the size and the color. They're not flopping at all because they're sheltered, and they're totally happy. And they're just beautiful this year. I'm really thrilled with them. That's one thing that is doing well in the garden. There are some, there is some damage to the leaves, a little bit of bug or insect damage, but for the most part, touch wood, the squirrels or the gophers haven't uprooted anything so far this year in this bed. So that's a really good sign. But let's untangle Pilu. Ah, that name's going to drive me crazy. Ugh. And the mosquitoes are biting. So I'm just gonna untie these. And then I'm sure this is stapled too. Yepers, there's the staple. So we're just gonna pull that out. You look at all the mosquitoes on my arms. They're just swarming tonight. I'm not sure why, it's been dry. There shouldn't be so many of them. Okay, let's see if I can get this. And I'm just gonna go. There we go. We got it. You heard the big crack on the pot. If you're wondering what all the green stuff is down here, those are morning glories that all of a sudden decided to sprout. It's just a crazy season. They haven't been good. So I'm not too worried about them. I'll leave them, but I'm not that happy with them. So if they don't make it, it's not gonna break my heart. Let's put it that way. There's always next year. So once again, I have to be careful with the line here, but we'll get this in. That's not too bad. And this one isn't going to be too hard to string on the fence because it's not very big. And this is the one that's only going to get 4 to 6 feet tall. So hopefully it'll get enough light here and protection that it will still bloom. Otherwise I might have to push these hydrangeas back a bit and just string them back a bit. So anyhow, we're going to take a bit of this off. Not too bad for being root bound, not as much as the other one, but it was also a bigger plant. I'm just going to loosen it all up. There we go. Looks like we got that started. You can see it right there. I've just kind of strung it up. So that's a good job done. But look at how great these are compared to my glove. They're just amazing this year. I am becoming a hydrangea addict, self-confessed. When I see stuff like this, it just inspires me to have more of them. Since we're right in front of the yarrow, I'm going to do some pruning now, and I'm just going to cut the spent blooms back. Normally I would cut the plant down to about 6 inches, but because there's new blooms in here, I'm just going to take the spent blooms out that have discolored. And that's one thing. And this is the Proven Winners Firefly Peach Yarrow. When it fades out, it kind of fades out to this, I consider it kind of a pasty, pastel, yellow, pink. Anyhow, I don't like the way it looks. I want more of the peach tone. So I just come in here and take it down to the stem and take all the spent blooms out. So we'll do that right now and get this done, and it'll look a heck of a lot better. If it's a big long stem, then I'll just take the center out like that, because there's no extra additional blooms or shoots coming out. And then I'll just leave the rest that are still flowering, because I really like this color in the garden. And you can see already it looks a lot better. So those are just about done. So I'm going to take them too, just to save me having to come back. And there we go. You can see we have some new blooms right here that are coming in, but a really nice plant. And it's doing really well. I'm loving it. And boy, I need to weed again. The thistles are coming in like no tomorrow. It's very painful to see this happen. But the prairies are known for their thistle. And so you got to get those out right away. And the thistle loves to come in with the yarrow and just everywhere. And I see we have a bunch of seeds that have sprouted in here too. Now this yarrow here is keeling over. So I'm actually going to give it a complete haircut and take it down about 6 inches. And that'll help it be upright again. The same with the ones in the back here. and that just cleans them right up. So 2 different methods of pruning yarrow here. One is cutting them right down, and you see how that one fades to a light pink. It's not bad. It's not, well, it could be a light pink or lavender. It's not ugly, but because it was leaning over from the planting, I might as well just clean it up, and now it can grow straight up. Let's go over here. I have some more of the peach, and you can see when it's starting to age, you can see it gets kind of this dirty color. I'll show it. And this one's got some new shoots coming down there, but see how I really don't like that look. So I will remove those. And this one has some shoots coming further up, so I'm only going down to the recent leaf node there so that those can produce, but yeah, not nice. And then this one back here needs a complete haircut. There we go. So I find August is the time to start pruning your perennials back. They need a good haircut, and then you can get a few more blooms before we set into our first frost. There we go. And then there's one right here. I'll just take that down right there. So since we're on a pruning adventure, this is the Annabelle that I planted in the heat. And so it's not going to do much this year. It's in here with the lupins. So I'm just going to take off the blooms where it's really gnarly and just clean it up a bit and go into the plant. And I'm looking for those leaf nodes where it's going to sprout out again. Even though they say hydrangeas come from, like Annabelles, come from new growth from the roots, I find they also bloom on old wood too and will send out shoots. So I tend to leave some of the branches, but we're just getting some of the weight off this. Like I said, these are next year territory. When you plant midsummer, you're not gonna get a lot out of them. You just clean them out and let them have a good soaking, and they should be good. The same with the Veronica. It needs a cut back, so we'll do that. I'm going down hard on these because these are sale plants and they're looking really shaggy. So I'm just gonna give them a good haircut. That's better. And you see, we have a lupin right back here too that needs the blooms removed here. And we have a new flower coming up right there. So kind of what you can do is just, pick a zone every day and work through your plants. That's the best way to do it. So I have some yarrow back here to clean up right there. And then we're gonna do some cleanup on these lilies and do a quick check on them to see, because I don't see any damage to the lilies. But first let's tackle the yarrow so we can get some more blooms off of it. I'm going to give you guys a bit of an update on how I deal with lilies like this. So once they're done blooming like this, what I do when they're done blooming is I come through, and if the plants aren't showing any damage in the foliage from bugs or infestations, I will snap all these seed heads off like this. And you just snap them, because I want the energy to go to the bulbs. So I just go through and I snap them all. Now, if there is damage, bug damage on these, I will cut them back to the ground at this time. I'll just shear them right back because I don't want to encourage the population of the lily beetles. I'm hearing a lot of people, and we got a weed in there, I'm hearing a lot of people complain, and I stepped on that one, that they're really struggling with lily beetles. And I've had people ask me when I've been out and about where they can find chemicals to treat them. So the other thing is I'm talking to some farmers, and that what they're going to do is they're putting that diatomaceous earth around the base of the plant to kill any eggs. So that would be my recommendation there too. You can try that. I mean, it's not going to harm anything, is to put that around the base, cut them right down. There. I actually enjoy snapping these off. Sometimes I miss some, but it's actually fun. Okay, let's see what's going on here. So just checking the leaves. They're good. So they haven't found those yet. So that's how I handle my lilies. Snap them off and clean them up. You can see here, over here, we have another hydrangea there that was planted this year. And I mean, those blooms gotta go. It's looking kind of gnarly in here. And there's more lilies in here that could use a prune, and phlox as well. But we'll start with dealing with this. And I'm gonna go right down here. You can go down to a node, lower down. That would be the best way of dealing with these, but it's a fast job. Now the energy can go to the plant putting down her roots. Now here is the terracotta here. Now the terracotta yarrow ages much nicer than the Proven Winners Firefly Peach. It goes to more of an orangey kind of a gold, and I don't mind that at all. But I will take a couple stalks out here just to encourage it to keep blooming. But that one is beautiful as it ages. And I missed a vine here. There we go. And right there. There. So that one, to me, is one that you can leave it a little longer before you start cutting it back. And here I have some more lilies that need to be snapped. So I can do those after. But the phlox here, this is how I deal with garden phlox. That is perennial. Is I just come in here and I cut them all off. I don't even pay attention to the length. You can go to where the new shoots are, but I just take them back to invigorate them. And get any weeds around them out. Because there's always going to be weeds in the garden. Garden's never going to be perfect all the time unless you have a staff to help you keep up, especially if you have other priorities in your life. All right, so that's good. We've done a bit of pruning, we've done some cleanup. Now I'm going to show you some of the things that are in bloom in the garden. So lilies are still blooming here, and they're looking really nice. This is one I planted this year. This is an oriental lily. I think it's beautiful. I love the green stripes in it. You can see how big that flower is. Loving the colors and the stripe. This flower is just about spent. It's probably going to be done tomorrow. Tie-dye clematis that I planted about 2 weeks ago is now sending out shoots, so it's coming up. I do need to get in and clean off some of the dead leaves from before. So they weren't doing that great, but they need to be done. And this yarrow all needs to be pruned, so I'll do that after. But we also have another daylily in bloom, and it's looking pretty crisp right now. And I think it's gorgeous. And these were just miscellaneous daylilies I got from Walmart. So I am good with them, but they are beautiful. So I'm not going to do all my pruning in this video because it's just way too much. But you can see here, these lilies are just finishing and they were stunning. And then I do have some tree lilies right here. And they're going to be done probably in a couple days. And you can see here, Rob went in and tied some of these. It's not beautiful, but his heart was in the right place. And then you can see there that the other tree lily is in bloom. And then I'll show you the one at the back. I should have videoed these earlier so you could see how splendid they are. But, you know, that's the way it goes when you're busy. You do what you can with the garden and you miss some stuff. And here's another one that's way at the back. Oh, swatting mosquitoes. And look at how pretty that is. I am debating moving these over to the other garden to give them more space. But they're very, very fragrant. So if you don't like a lot of fragrance in your house, these are not the plant to take inside. I took a whole pile of the Casablanca lilies in and literally I had to move them outside. They were so strong. So live and learn. And then finally we just have some plain Asiatics here that are looking good. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. There's more planting going to be going on here because you know I bought all those plants. And yesterday we had to rescue those mallard ducks, which was so much fun, you guys. I know it wasn't gardening content, but they do benefit the garden with what they eat and stuff. So to save them was a pleasure and I loved holding them. And yeah, they aren't a house pet, but sure would have been nice. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video out. It's a bad time of year now. There's not a lot of people watching videos because they're so busy on vacation and stuff, but if you could do that, that would be great. Thank you. Take care, everybody.